blah, 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 blah. So, we're going to talk about Season 2, Episode 21 of My Hero Academia. This is actually a pretty solid episode. There is kind of two things that are going on throughout this, and it's all about finals week. So our class has two parts of their final exams. There is the written portion, and there is the practical exams. The first half of the episode, roughly, or at least a good third of the episode, is just kind of talking about practical exams, or talking about their written exams, excuse me, where everyone's comparing each other's midterms to each other. So yeah, everyone's studying for their written exams, people busting their balls over it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's kind of the first thing about that. We don't really cover the written exams other than that, just the fact that everyone's studying and everyone just took it. It's like 3 days worth of exams, although that would be interesting to know exactly what they actually do study outside of just heroism. But yeah, so the main portion of this episode is all about setting up the final practical exams, which, though initially everyone had the idea that it was all just gonna be them fighting robots due to a little tip from Kendo from 2B or Class B or whatever, you know, the one with the big fist quirk. And that was after the fact that Mr. what was it, Monoma? You know, the shit with the copy quirk, this shit was just like egging on everyone, just being a shit. There's no other way for me to describe this dude. This guy just well, first of all, he elbows Deku on purpose and says, "Hey, what's going on? What's this stain killer stuff? Why are you guys involved? This is only a matter of time before you guys drag us in there." Yeah, so everyone comes into the practical exams just thinking that it's going to be just something similar to the entrance exams, which was fighting a whole bunch of robots. Turns out, though, due to the events of Hero Killer Stain, the staff have really talked about it as far as how do they want to change up the practical exams. And so what they came up with was them to actually just fight the teachers and the principal. The idea is that, you know, we can't really push come to shove because the League of Villains is becoming stronger. So we need these potential heroes to become better heroes or better prepare them for what's to come later on. And so they all agree that it'd be better if we pair this class in groups of 2 and have them pit against like one other teacher. The limitation and the handicap being these bracelets that take half of their actual weight, essentially impeding them from like additional mobility and also additional draining of their own stamina. Is that enough though? That's the question for a lot of these students. Before everything begins, they are all assigned a different partner based on, you know, their particular quirks, some about their compatibility. Like, for example, Deku is matched up with Kachan, which means it's not about like their quirks, it's just how bad they work together. And who's the person they're going to come up against? It's going to be All Might. Oh my god, dude. When you have two equally opposing forces met with like an overwhelming force on the side, it just kind of goes one way. Unless these two can come together and push against the force that's absolutely overwhelming. Have I mentioned it was overwhelming? I'm pretty sure I did. So each pair is going out trying to figure out their quirks or just kind of hanging out as each match kind of goes chronologically. We see the first matchup, which is, give me a second. I'm trying to remember their names. That's the problem, is that I'm bad with names. All right, I'll go based on their quirks. So we have Harden guy, which I'm pretty sure is Red Riot, and then we also have Sugar Rush dude, whose quirk wasn't actually really known too much to us. It's actually an ability taking on the advantages of sugar, which was to be able to take in the sugar and become, I think, about Sugar Rush 9 to 3 times as strong for 3 minutes. But at a cost, he loses a lot of his rationality. His mental state is like very dulled down. And they're against Cementos, who is the guy who has the power to create walls and whatnot out of cement continuously. And what ended up was this being a battle of attrition, them losing quite easily, because what Cementos did was just create pillars upon pillars of walls for them to try to break through. I think it took about 2 solid hits just to break down one wall. And so they had to keep at it until they really just ran each other down. Our dude running out of sugar and the other guy just losing his hardened ability, and they just get completely encapsulated by this cement attack at the very end. So even though with that added weight to him, Cementos had no problem whatsoever holding these guys down and pretty much wearing them out for him to finish them off. And so they lost the match, unfortunately, so they failed that. And this actually takes a toll on everyone because it's just like over the intercom's like, hey, this guy's lost. So it's now much more of a pressure. Deku actually finds out that this is not just randomized, this is actually all planned out in the fact that individuals' quirks are being pitted against others who have quirks that can actually overwhelm them, their own quirks. And so the idea for this practical exam is to test if these students can actually overcome their own weaknesses in a certain way with their partner in order to beat this almost unbeatable force. And so the next episode afterwards is going to be, what was it, Sue and Tokiyami against that one cool ass dude. Like, well, who is that guy? I forget his name, but he has like a coat, he has a completely covered up mask. He almost looks like some kind of character that you see out of Marvel or something like that, like a darker version of like Mysterio or something like that. His deal is using clones, and that's as far as we know about him. So that's gonna be a really interesting fight when we have Sue and Tokiyami being different, the frog quirk and like the shadow quirk. How's that gonna work in their favor against this guy who can make continuous clones? In the next one, we have Todoroki and Momo going against our bandage dude, whose name escapes me right now. So, I mean, that's what it is. We already know who he is. What's gonna be interesting is how the creation quirk is gonna work with the half and half quirk, half cold, half hot. It's a pretty silly name for that quirk, but I mean, hot and you're cold. And we end up with a Katy Perry song, a Katy Perry reference. It's whatever. So yeah, it looks like they're going to have these two teams per episode, which is totally fine with me as it is. I made the joke that the fact that the time limit is 30 minutes, they could literally make 10 episodes of just this alone. Thank goodness they decided not to do that, because that would have just driven me crazy, because there's no way you could fit all of that in an episode. Fit all that one fight in an episode. It's gonna be crazy. That's pretty much it. I do enjoy this episode. I do like how Stain still pops up episodes after his downfall. He's still an influence to not just the League of Village, but just also affecting everyone at the school as well. So that's a good character right there. But yeah, we're gonna end the episode here. Oh, not episode. We're gonna end the video here, and we'll pick this up on the next time. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. #bye.